You know that feeling when you're lying in the grass on a really clear night and you're just staring up at all those stars? Have you ever felt that weird little twist in your gut? That feeling that maybe, just maybe, you're not actually looking up at all?
Well, you're not. You're looking down. You're on the edge of a cliff, peering into an infinite, bottomless void. And the only thing stopping you from falling forever is this weird, invisible force we call gravity. So let's just lean into that feeling for a bit and really explore the beautiful and, frankly, terrifying reality of our place in the cosmos.
And to even begin to wrap our heads around this infinite drop, we kind of have to start with the people who are brave enough to literally step right into it. Just try to picture this for a second. It's 1984. Astronaut Bruce McCandless II does something no human being has ever done before. He just pushes away from the space shuttle. No tethers, nothing. I mean, Neil Armstrong's one small step was for all mankind, right? But this was different. This was one man, all alone, willingly taking a plunge into that endless, silent dark. It was the ultimate test of our technology, sure, but man, what a test of human nerve. You know that feeling McCandless must have had out there? That crazy mix of pure, mind-blowing awe and just raw, primal terror? It's an ancient anxiety. It's something we all kind of feel on some level. And yeah, there's a word for it.
And this fear, it goes way, way back. We've always projected our fears onto the heavens. I mean, think about it. Comets were seen as these terrible omens. The word disaster literally comes from Greek for bad star. Or what about the old belief that a full moon could drive people completely mad, turning them into lunatics? It's this deep, instinctual fear of what's lurking out there in the dark. And you know what? That fear is 100% justified. Forget about alien monsters for a second. Our own cosmic neighborhood is basically a house of horrors. If you just popped into existence on Mercury, you'd boil and freeze at the exact same time as your blood literally flashes into gas bubbles. On Venus, you'd be crushed and set on fire, instantly. Jupiter would squeeze you into a diamond, and on Neptune, your body would turn to glass. There is no plan B out here. Earth is it. It's our only safe harbor. And get this, 5 miles. That's it, just 8 kilometers. That is the absolute farthest you can go straight up before the air gets so thin you just die. You could walk that distance in about an hour. That little fragile shell of air is our entire world. Everything beyond it is just instant death. Okay, so now that we've got a pretty good sense of how fragile we are, let's do the opposite. Let's zoom all the way out and just try to face the sheer, mind-breaking scale of the arena we're playing in. The scale is just, it's almost impossible to really feel. Light, the fastest thing there is, takes 8 minutes to get to us from our own sun. It takes over 4 years for that same light to reach the next nearest star. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is 100,000 light years across. And the next big galaxy over, Andromeda, 2.5 million light years away. At a certain point, the numbers just stop meaning anything. They're just big. You can think of it like our cosmic address. Okay, so we're on a planet and a solar system inside the Milky Way galaxy, fine. But that galaxy is part of a small little neighborhood called the local group, which is inside the Virgo supercluster, which is just one little tendril of the Laniakea supercluster. And all of that is just one tiny thread in a vast cosmic web of galaxies, all separated by these colossal voids of, well, of nothing. We are cosmically microscopic. It's not even a question. And when you're faced with that kind of scale, it inevitably leads to some really profound and honestly deeply unsettling questions. It is the simplest and maybe the most terrifying question in all of science. With trillions of stars and probably even more planets out there, the odds say the universe should be absolutely teeming with life, just buzzing with signals from other civilizations. But when we point our telescopes out there and listen, all we hear is silence. Just a big, empty cosmic ocean. The great Arthur C. Clarke put it perfectly. If we really are alone, the sheer loneliness of it all, the wastes of all that space, it's just crushing. But if we're not alone, then the universe is filled with unknowns, and that silence becomes even more menacing, right? Why is nobody talking? So one of the big ideas that tries to explain this is something called the Great Filter. It's this theory that there's some incredibly difficult, maybe impossible barrier that life has to overcome to get to a galactic stage. And the real question, the scary one, is where is that barrier for us? Well, there are 2 main ways to think about it. The hopeful version is that the Great Filter is already behind us, that maybe the jump from a single-celled organism to complex life is so ridiculously rare that we're one of the first, or maybe even the only ones to ever make it through. The other theory, the terrifying one, is that the Great Filter is still ahead of us, that intelligent life is actually common, but it always, inevitably, destroys itself before it can reach the stars. And we just haven't hit our expiration date yet. So, faced with all these massive cosmic uncertainties, maybe the only sane thing left to do is to pull the camera all the way back in and see our own world from a completely new perspective. On Valentine's Day in 1990, the Voyager 1 spacecraft, already billions of kilometers from home and heading out of the solar system, turned its camera around for one last look back. This wasn't for science. It was an idea pushed by the astronomer Carl Sagan. He just wanted it for perspective, and the image it took captured our entire world in a single pale blue pixel. Sagan's words about this photo are, for my money, some of the most powerful things ever said about our place in the universe. On that tiny little speck of dust, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you've ever even heard of, every single human being who ever lived out their lives right there. He went on to talk about all of our history, our wars, our triumphs, our religions, our imagined self-importance. All of it happening on a fraction of a single pixel. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by generals and emperors, just so they could become the momentary masters of a tiny little corner, of that dot. I mean, this one image challenges everything. So what does this all teach us? That in all this unbelievable vastness, there's absolutely no hint that help is going to come from somewhere else to save us from ourselves. This photo is a lesson in humility. It really drives home our responsibility to be kinder to each other and to protect and cherish the only home we've ever known. Look, like it or not, for right now, this pale blue dot is all we've got. In the face of an infinite, silent, and often terrifying universe, the Earth is where we make our stand.